Hi, this is Aaron Russell, head coach of your Richmond Spiders women's basketball team, and you are watching the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to Commonwealth Sports Talk, Season 5, Episode 3, with your host, Joe Dillard Jr. This week's special guest, MJ Wynn, founder of GemPrep Basketball Player Development.
Welcome, Commonwealth Sports Talk here. Joe Dillard bringing you another episode as we have Season 5, Episode 3 with my man MJ Wynn, GemPrep. What it do, my man? How you living?
Man, I'm good, man. How are you? I'm good. Appreciate you for having me on as well.
Hey, man, always. And it's my thing, and I say another day in paradise. That's how we look at it. It's what
always, for sure.
Absolutely, man. So for those who don't know, man, this guy is one of them under the radar guys, as I like to give my, soliloquy on your background. And what a lot of people don't realize is that everybody wants to be this guy. And what I mean by that is you want to be in the gym. You want to make kids better. You want to do it pure. You want to have the opportunity to live a lifestyle like that. And a lot of people aren't privy, despite hungry, despite loving it, aren't privy to be in that role.
Right.
Yet we have a guy here who's consistently grinded year after year, grinded to put his name, his model, his logo, his rep on the line, and it's paying off in fruition, bro. So that's my soliloquy to you and my shout out to you. So welcome to Commonwealth Sports Talk with that.
Man, you can't come with a better introduction than that. And I want to first and foremost, Joe, I appreciate you. Yeah, that's major. I appreciate you. But it's what comes with, being about the true essence of basketball. And that's just what I've always been about. Things happen over time. You know what I mean? More important things happen on God's timing. And, just a lot of work that goes in with GemPrep, and just with various different guys, from young all the way up to professionals. It's just the timing, you know what I mean? And the work that separates, So I appreciate you expounding on that.
And that's nothing, man. So as you spoke on it, GemPrep, could you explain to me like the core values of GemPrep, like how you pitch what the point of a child to adult coming in, getting what they're getting from your program?
Yeah, sure. Well, first and foremost, a lot of people don't know, but GemPrep, Gem means greatness evolves mentally, yes. Preparation. The core values of GemPrep are number one, the mental toughness. How your mental is more importantly to me, how far you can go.
Yeah.
Number two, is the work ethic. The way we work, the amount of work that we put in, is always the separator. You know what I mean? And also that is fellowship, brotherhood. Family. I deal with that one. Yeah, I deal with young girls now. I deal with a couple of high school and college girls. So, I didn't necessarily want to leave them out necessarily saying the brotherhood, but just more the fellowship. Everybody that I deal with personally from a young age to an old age, they not going to necessarily say they're personal with each other, but they know each other. And the reason being is, everybody has a goal, and I believe in development. Development is over time. But at the same time, if you have a goal, you have something that you strive for every day. And my young guys and my young girls, they always, the way I set up my workouts, they always come in before the older guys, and the biggest reason being is, after they get their work in, they have a chance of really, taking the time out of seeing how the older guys work. How do I articulate things with them? How do I talk to them? Like, oh, there's different levels to this, but the fine line of it all is all the same. The work changes over time, but the teaching doesn't. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Don't
You know
let
what I
it
mean?
stop. Don't let it stop, bro. Like, that's the next question. Like, why do you grind the way you do? Like, where does the motivation come from to continually put that work in? Like, how are you wired that way? What makes you tick?
Honestly, man, what makes me tick is just the game of basketball. I love it.
Okay.
Me being from a small town, I'm from Brunswick County, Virginia, small town, in the southern part of Virginia. And just, the foundation from, my high school coach, is also a close cousin of mine, Brian Stiff, played in the league for 13 years, all time.
Previous guest.
All-time UVA great. A lot of my morals and principles, not only from a basketball standpoint, but as a man, I learned from him. Over time. He's one of not only the greatest people that I met, but he's one of the truest professionals that I know.
Brian Stiff, everybody. That's who he's talking about. Okay.
Yes.
UVA
Brian Stiff.
Denver Nuggets. Don't get it twisted.
Not at all. Who is now, who was just, coaching at, was the head assistant at ODU. Is, just got a new job somewhere. But I'll
Just
let that
took a
come
job.
out.
Yeah, he's in the Carolinas now, I believe.
Yeah, I'll let that job come out in the presses before we speak more about that. You know what I mean? But that's always been the motivation, the love for the game of basketball. But also too, man, what has really helped me a lot on this journey, that has kept me grounded, but more importantly, has really helped propel a lot of the individuals that I deal with, is just my experiences and ways I was taught coming up. You know what I mean? Was blessed to play basketball. I mean, we know what the resume is, playing for 3 state championships, 2-time All-State, having the opportunity of getting a 4-year degree, you know what I mean, in a historically Black college like Virginia Union, being around NBA players, playing with NBA players, being around college All-Americans, experiences are the best teacher.
Preach.
That has really helped me over my time. You know what I mean? Just reflection of things that I went through, things that I know helped me on my journey. I just kind of
quick one. Brunswick, backwood. I'm backwood. Tell me the most desperate way you played basketball. With what item? What was the ball? What was the hoop? You got to tell me something off the backwood trail. I know you got something for me.
Man, we had coming up, my time in high school, man, we lived in the gym. During the season, off season, we lived in the gym, and on Sundays, we had this one small park in the middle of Lawrenceville. Lawrenceville is technically the big city of Brunswick County.
Brunswick County.
And every Sunday, man, we all would meet up at this park. I'm talking about young guys, old guys, people would just pull up just to watch. And this is kind of where I learned,
I love it.
The true toughness of it, big reason why I'm in the development, man. When I look over my journey, I was developed at a young age, in Brunswick County, man, B had this thing during the summer times, man. And I'm pretty sure you heard some stories, man. Some of the most epic basketball I've ever seen in my life, I would see during the summer times with Brian Stiff, with Darius Hargrove, Aaron Scott. You know, these guys
Played
were
against Hargrove.
Darius Hargrove is probably one of the greatest guards I've ever seen that a lot of people don't know about.
He remembers me too, but I love my battle against him. He went on successfully with Virginia Union and won a national championship. So that's a very big shout out to him. Yeah, I definitely remember this guy.
Three-time champion, 2-time national player of the year. You know, the list goes on.
Yeah.
And you know, going through these things, man, but never forgetting these things. That keeps that fire lit. You know what I mean?
I needed to hear that.
I'm a big visionary. You know what I mean? So a lot of things.
Talk to me, brother.
A lot of things that happen are kind of planned out. You know what I mean? And you know, I believe in what I do. I believe in what I do.
Talking into fruition mentally, damn.
Always.
Yeah.
Work without faith is dead. You know what I mean? And you know, not disrespecting anybody, but my faith is really, really high, and my belief in what I do and myself is even greater. You know, but I also work just as hard.
I love it.
And you know, I'm blessed that the individuals I deal with, you know, they do the work, man. You know, I know you've been told it before. You know, I get backlash a little bit because I'm not really out there, you know, and nor do I put myself out there. And the reason being is it's not about me. You know, once again, you know, I kind of, you know, you spoke about my resume, you know, as a basketball player, you know, not only as a trainer, and I've been blessed. I've enjoyed my journey, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And through those blessings, through those experiences are why, you know, individuals I deal with, they propel the way they do. You know, they learn, they hear the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
The more the people think, you know, I got a big saying, the more prepared you are, the ready you will be. Mm-hmm. There's, it's almost like studying for a test. You know, I can give you all the answers. But at the end of the day, if you're not studying on your own, or taking those answers, you know, or taking the answers or the experiences that you've been told and kind of implementing them into your daily regiment routine, you know, you're gonna have some of the same experiences that I have. And I'm blessed, man, to work with young individuals, college, you know, players as well as pros that kind of get all of that. So that's why I can't take the credit, man. For sure.
The guy that's leading them to the water. It's up to them to take that drink and to know how to sustain that hydration. So
yeah,
and understand that.
And the majority of them, man, they really drinking. They really drinking right now.
Hey, look, we're gonna get on the back end of that with interview with that. I'm a bit. Look, you already know. We've talked about it. Development. Talk to me about development. Okay, so we've got development in these two categories. I've got skill versus will, and I've got prototype versus go-getter. What does that mean to you?
Wow, skill versus will. I love that actually, and I'm gonna use that as well too. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time, Joe.
Nothing wrong with that.
But skill versus will. I think skill is not necessarily, you know, being the best ball handler, being the best shooter. You know, I think true skill is understanding.
That's true.
You can be a great ball handler, but if you're just doing a bunch of dribbling, you still gonna look bad.
Yeah. It's true.
you can be a really, really good shooter, but if you're not hitting timely shots, somebody's gonna always believe they can find something better.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Versus the will. What's the will then?
The will is the mental part, and that's the battle that I speak about a lot. That's
what
the
about
battle
that mental? What are they thinking mentally then?
And it's not about always, Joe. In my mind, it's not always about what you're thinking.
Okay.
You know, it's more about when you speak on will. It's all about how much do you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can speak on things like, Joe, I want to be an NBA trainer. I want to deal with NBA teams. I want that. But on the flip side, the next question should be, what are you doing to obtain that?
Absolutely.
And when I think of will, it's just all about being built for it. Yes. How mentally tough are you? Not through the good, because anybody can be on a high when it's good. But how do you respond through adversity? How do you look through adversity? Do you rise through those things? Even through the good, are you a humble servant, or are you caught into what's going on? You get what I'm saying? So I think it's a fine line, and it's a great balance that needs to be had with skill and will.
Couldn't have put it any better right there. And that's and with Prototype and Gogetter, it's almost like that's the end result too. But with Prototype and Gogetter, I think of the Monstars Michael Jordan version where it's perfect. You've got the tallest of the tall, Sean Bradley, but it doesn't mean the best of the best.
Exactly.
You've got the biggest and strongest, but it doesn't mean it's going to equivalate. And that's to me, that's the prototype. Prototype is Michael Jordan, 6'6", 220 something at the 2 guard. But a go-getter to me is Magic Johnson. He's 6'9". They told him, you're supposed to, if anybody, I know a coach told him, hey man, you're supposed to be on the block with that. Hey man, you're supposed to be on the wing with that. You ain't supposed to be the one. He's a go-getter. He showed you why he's the one. You know what I mean? He didn't look the one and provided it. He showed you why he was the one. So to me, that's my, prototype versus go-getter. And they both have a similar balance that you just said, in my opinion, with them having a little bit of both. What's your take on prototype and go-getter?
That's actually, Joe, I was listening to you. That's actually a very interesting and different analogy that I wasn't, normally I would say I disagree with. But how you explained it, I respect it. But, well, not even a but I said but again. On the flip side, I think you can also can change those two individuals, on the prototype and go-getter. Yeah. I think, especially in today's world, right, the prototype is a Magic Johnson.
Yes.
The bigger, quote unquote, the bigger, the better. You know what I mean? Magic Johnson was one of a kind. Magic Johnson was the start. What little do people know, Magic Johnson truly was the start of the big guard in my eyes. You know what I mean? Because he was a true one. He wasn't a 5. He wasn't a 4. He wasn't a 3. He wasn't a 2. Because at that time when he was really great, could he hit shots? Yes. But was he a shooter? No. He just had a commandment of leadership.
And he had it.
And he transitioned that game from a point guard standpoint to being entertaining.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Absolutely.
But on the other side, Michael Jordan.
There he is. That's Magic. I got Magic and Michael up on the wall, man.
I do as well. Gotta have those two. And with Michael Jordan being a go-getter, you just think about his upbringing. You know what I mean? Not making the team in 10th grade, ended up becoming one of the top players in the country, going to Carolina,
Playing
having
with
to
3
work his way.
All-Americans there already and hitting.
Come on, man. You got James Worthy, Sam Perkins,
Yeah.
These individuals, and you having to fight through that to show, I look at it that way. But
your brain's twisted that. I love that.
no, and that's why I was looking at you the way I was when you were explaining it the first time, because I'm like, that's really interesting. Like, he's right with what he's saying. Now, most people, I don't, and I can't talk basketball with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I think
You
a
don't
lot
explain
about
the whys, MJ. That's why. I think that's just simply because you could at least see where somebody's coming from and you can at least veer. But when people are just adamant about something and then like don't give you no support, no substance, no meat and potatoes, you like,
right.
You really still saying this? You know what I mean? And that's when you just like,
and that's the world we're in now. We're in an opinionated world,
punchline.
Not necessarily perspective and not necessarily fact driven. You know what I mean? You can have an opinion. I'm all for it. I'm all for you speaking your mind, but in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you got to be able to make me understand why, or give me a fact essence to why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to stand on what you say. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, that's my answer on the prototype and Gogetter.
How do you know when a player is ready when you're training him? And what I mean by that is when he's ready to level up, per se. How do you know when he's ready? Like, how does it feel?
How does it feel?
Yeah, that's probably easier to answer.
I can answer both questions, but I'll answer that one first. How does it feel? It's very, it's worthwhile. It's very breathtaking, and the reason I say that is because, man, that's half the reason why I'm in it. It's no form of pleasure more than seeing a kid, a grown woman, or a grown man work for something, like, cried during their crying days, during their happy days, like really fight for something not only did they want, but they deserve, and to finally see it in fruition, to see it happen. That's the satisfaction part, man. It's not about the glitz and glamours. It's not about these interviews. You know what I mean? It's not about people telling me like, man, you're good at what you do. Nah, that is the all in be all. You got to keep going. That right there.
Absolutely.
It's very. I love it. I love it.
Great.
Our
time.
But how do I know?
Yeah, tell me, how do you know?
It's just having a relationship.
Yep.
It's really just having a relationship. I say this to every single one of my parents, and I've been with Roosevelt Willard since 9th grade. That's at Louisville. I've been with Jason Nelson. That's going to be the starting point guard as a freshman at Richmond since 8th grade. With Tyler Nickel, that's at North Carolina. Been with him since 8th grade. And about the two now, you know what I mean, with Devin and with Devin Cosby and DeMond Thompson Jr.
Good. So knowing about them mentally being ready, you were explaining about them. Go right ahead, boss.
In development, man, it's about timing. And I say two things. When two things click, it's nothing I can do, a parent can do, right? When it clicks for that individual player, it'll click for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It may happen during a game. They may just do the stuff like, oh, it really is this easy, or oh, it's really like this. It may happen like that in a practice. They may wake up in the middle of the night like, you know what? F it. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? It's everybody's a different person. Everybody's timing is different. And I say when preparation meets God's timing, there it is. And you can see, with me being in the day-to-day development, you can see where the skills get better, where the kid gets more confident. You know what I mean? And those factors, I'm like, okay, all right, it's starting to come. You know what I mean? But for the individual player, it happens through experience. The more and more they're in those environments of getting the experience, the easier it becomes. You know what I mean? So I just be kind of knowing, because I know how mentally they're built. Like I have a saying, I don't believe in pressure. And the reason being, pressure is a man-made thing.
True.
Right?
True.
So with knowing pressure is a man-made thing, right? Our energy, right? Our thoughts turn into actions, right? Our actions turn into what we show, correct? So the more and more you doing the right things over and over again, the more and more you're affirming those things over and over again, right? Through the good, the bad, right? The more and more you develop those things over and over again, the more and more you become confident in them. You know what I'm saying? So in the game, it should be no different than practice. That's how I feel.
Correct.
Your workouts
Practice should be harder than games, shouldn't it?
Always. My kids, all my gyms at all ages, right? They be laughing, right? I tell them, I'm like, listen, I'm like, you're not gonna get in trouble right now. We gotta just be joking. I'm like, man, I got a consent form. All your parents right there, they can hear me talking. I'm like, let me ask y'all a few questions. And I'm like, I want y'all to be honest. Be honest. I'm like, trust me, y'all parents ain't gonna be mad. They gonna laugh too. I'm like, y'all be tired of hearing y'all parents sometimes, don't y'all? I'm like, they get on y'all nerves, don't you? Especially during games, after games, they get on y'all nerves, don't you? I'm like, shoot, I know I get on y'all nerves. Y'all just know I don't care. Right? We know why things are being said. We know the love that is coming from, the care that is coming from, right? I'm like, let's be honest. And they'll look around, they'll look at each other, they'll look at their parents. I'm like, come on, answer, be honest. They like, yeah. I'm like, okay, right? I'm like, so boom, think about this, right? Y'all hear me all day. You have no choice to hear your parents, your coaches doing practice and workouts, right? I'm like, all right. When you walk out on the floor for a game, what do you hear? They like crowd, music probably, fans, things of that nature. Coaches may be screaming out what we doing, right? I'm like, do you hear your parents like that? They like, nah. I'm like, when I'm at games, I'm like, I say certain things that I may see at small times, but I'm like, do you hear me like that? They like, nah. I'm like, man, you know what I want y'all to start doing when you walk out there to the games? Just point your ears out like, oh, I don't hear nothing. Oh, it's time to hoop. It's time to hoop. That's your time to have fun. The games are your time to cash in your checks that you deposited all week, all summer, all day.
I love
that. That's your time. That is your time. The more and more we do what's right, the less and less we got to hear from other people. Because now when you're doing what's right, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, now people are going to be coming asking you, what are you doing? They want to taste that Kool-Aid. So I'm big on analogies. I'm big on examples. Yes. Just learning. I didn't take psychology. I graduated with a criminal justice degree at Virginia Union. You know what I'm saying? I got a master's degree in sports management at Virginia State. Don't know nothing about psychology. know nothing about psychology, but I'm I'm a genuine person. I'm big on observing. The
That's
more
a
and more
whole
people know,
section in psychology, bro, right there. Observation. There's like 9 pillars to it in the world of psychology. And I'm
right?
not a psychologist nor close, but what I've learned is how comparable they are to real life situations and traits. You
Everything,
just named one when you said observation.
everything.
Lock
You know,
in. I be trying to be a
and
fly on the wall.
hey, look, man, listen. I say that to everybody. That is my saying, man. I'm not trying to be nothing but a fly on the wall, man. I ain't making no noise.
Told you those was backwoods slogans that only we would know.
Honestly, yeah.
How important is it to continue to raise the bar for these kids? Like how important is it to like make them, okay, I need you to accomplish this by 2 weeks, and okay, bam, you did. I'm happy for you. You know, we evaluate, that's great. However, ... What's next? How do you keep raising that bar for them?
And that's definitely major of understanding when new challenges need to be brought. And it's really understanding the overall end goal. If your goal is to get to college, okay, there are steps that need to be taken to get there. You know what I mean? It's not an overnight thing. And it doesn't just happen. I tell people all the time, success doesn't just happen. You don't just get lucky. Luck, yeah, you know, and sometimes luck may play a part, but you had to do something to create that
somehow.
luck.
Yes, you had to prep somehow.
You know, so you know, like building up the bar is just understanding the person, the athlete, understanding where they're at, understanding when they're getting bored, understanding you know, that it's time for something new. You know what I mean? And it just comes with it. I think at the end of the day, Joe, a lot of things are built on genuine relationships and really being intentional about what you're trying to get done 100%. And what you want to do.
100%.
You know,
back to your psychology point, it's the people thing.
Yeah,
you're able to read people. That's almost half of the psychology on the approach. You know, we're sport management guys, right? We're sport management guys, right?
Right.
Kinesiology, the movement of the body indicates what you have been doing all your life, almost like the bones guys and anthropologists, how they study your bone and say, yeah, at 14, he broke his leg. At 15, he did this. They know it based on your bone. Well, as an athlete, we're supposed to know based on your walk, your character, your style, how you present. We're supposed to know all of that. And so that's something I think also plays a part in psychology. Continue.
No, I was saying, it's not necessarily reading people. It's just really being genuine to people. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to read somebody to learn them. You know, when you're genuine, you know, I'm an introvert, so I'm not a big talker, but our introductory conversations, right? I'll talk to you like I knew you, and vice versa.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just all about the energy, the genuine, you know, friendship, you know, and through those things just organically happen, you know. Yep. And that's that. You know, basketball's a part, and I tell people that all the time. You know, with me helping and enhancing individuals to get better, basketball is an entity of it. You're a human being first.
Yep. That's
you know,
tool. The life's lessons.
You know, you can have all the skills, and I say it all the time, you can have all the skills, but if your mind ain't right, the body's not gonna follow.
Talk that talk, bro.
You know what I mean?
Talk that talk.
You know, and that just comes from day in and day out, you know, mental and physical preparation. You get what I mean? Individuals I deal with, they read, you know, I send them things, they study, you know, all those things go hand in hand, and not just basketball things, about life. The more, you know, at your stages at 14, 15, 16, 25, 35, 40, 52, you know, when you understand life, you understand yourself.
Very true.
And vice versa. When you understand yourself, and when you're in tune with yourself as an individual, you understand life.
I got to quote Jadakiss right off of you. Learn life before life learns you.
Hey, man.
And there it is. You know, you got to definitely know what's around you before it learns you and consumes you up to be somebody you don't want to be, or somebody you're unfamiliar with. So
For sure.
great analogy there. I like how it's almost like we're one of them guys where you tell me why yes and I tell you why no, and then we move on with a meeting. And I'm starting to smell that a little bit, but at the same time realize how valuable that can be.
For sure.
So we've got plans. You've got plans. You know, finish your AAU season up strong, boss. You know, we're gonna get together. We've got some things behind the scenes that we're gonna work on. But again, I appreciate your time. You appreciate for me having you. Nah, bro, it's reciprocal. And I just, you know, I know how busy you are. I keep telling myself, man, do we got to do a late nighter or what, or early morning? What's the 1 hour gap I got to find you, bro? I know you going somewhere. So,
right.
You know, but at the end of the day, that's that grind we love. And I don't want to hold you too much from that grind you love, but giving us those tools and those gems, man, those are nothing but the best right there. And that's why you are doing what you're doing. Run me through a couple of them names again. Who's 4 years that you worked on with this? Because this is very, very, very productive.
We got Roosevelt Willer. He's at Louisville.
Yes.
Jason Nelson at Richmond, going to be a starting point guard as a freshman at Richmond. You got Tyler Nickel, who's about to be a freshman at the University of North Carolina. You know, everybody knows that my time that I've worked with Isaiah Todd personally while he was in Richmond, Virginia. And I also have 2 high school guys that are coming through that are in their time now, man, that are really, you know, going to make some big names for themselves. And one of them is Devin Cosby Jr. He's about to be a senior at Benedictine. Just picked up quite a few offers.
Quite a few.
You know, picked up a few offers the last few days, and you know, it's just a testament of him and his work, man, and who he is as a person. Just really just over the time, man, really believed in himself, understood, you know, when it was, you know, when God's timing was ready, and that equaled up to his grind, that it would all come together and it would work well. And you know, he's just scratching the surface of what he's gonna do and you know, what he's gonna become. And you know, I'm just happy for him. And and the point guard, the one, man, you know, I've been speaking of that, been preaching of it for a while, man. Damon Red Thompson Jr. He's a 2024 point guard at John Marshall, the John Marshall High School, you know, state champions. You know, he's the real deal, man. He's the goods. He's the goods. You know, a 6'1" right now. just do it all point guard, man. Can really, really score it. Is really, really entertaining, but it's really, really
cerebral.
Very, very cerebral and a great teammate, man. And that's one thing with all individuals that I work with, all individuals, you know, whether young, middle or old, boy or girl, man or woman, being a good person really takes you a long way.
Yeah.
And anybody I work with, you won't ever hear about them being a bad teammate. And that's one thing, you know, we really hang our hats on. You know what I mean? Just being a good person, you know, they'll kill on the court. They're gonna kill you on the court, you know, but off the court, man, you know, they're gonna be some of the most humble, nice, you know, professional, respectful individuals that you're gonna meet.
That's awesome. That's awesome, bro. You don't get that too often. Man, that's a great combination right there. And I loved how you continue to promote that, to say it, to live it, to breathe it. And throughout this interview of promoting faith and having, you know, God's plan intact and understanding that if you're prepared, it's going to happen when it's his time. So like, I love all of that. Again, man, we've got to break more bread later, man. Like the time,
sure.
It's almost like we want to start a whole new one over and we can't, man. But
for sure.
Definitely appreciate your time. This is Commonwealth Sports Talk with MJ Wynn of John Marshall of GemPrep of the area of Richmond, straight out of Brunswick, Virginia Union. Don't let me forget that Trojan graduate from Masters. So that's
man, I don't you know, no disrespect to Petersburg and Virginia State, man.
Oh,
but, you know,
I didn't say nothing about you. Nothing about you.
Panther pride, man. Panther pride all day, every day, man. Panther pride, man.
Hell State. My God, we'll talk another day.
No, it's all love, though. All love.
Appreciate you.